Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back to today's Daf Yomi, which is MOED Katan Daf Hey. We are holding at the very end of Daled Amud Beis. Umesaknen es kilkuli hamayim sheber shusarabim. On Chol HaMoed, they may repair these damaged water supply facilities, which are needed for the Rabbim, as we learned yesterday. All public works can be done on Chol HaMoed, even though they involve malacha. Says the Gemara, Chatita in. Mesakrin means to repair, to clean out, to unplug, to unclog the water conduits, the pits, the water supply system. Chatita in, cleansing, unclogging, clearing. That can be done. But chafir aloi, but not to actually construct a new boir, a new cistern. You can't dig. To that extent, we are not mater. Amar Rabbi Yaakov, Amar Rabbi Yechanan, lo yishanu. That only applies elash ein rabim tzrichen lahem. We're currently speaking, the Rabbim doesn't need this additional facility. So therefore, you can't construct a new facility that they don't really need currently on Chol HaMoed. They have enough water without it. So, cleaning out, unclogging, unplugging, clearing, chatita, that's mutter regardless, because the Rabbim's needs are certainly unpredictable. It appears that they have enough, but you never know. So you can go prepare a backup system. You can increase the capacity through chatita, cleaning up the boiros, but to actually dig a new one, to that extent of malacha, that's asur, unless they actually need it. Chafir is not allowed. That's only a concern when they don't actually need it. Aval Rabbim tzrichen lahem. But if the Rabbim needs it, they currently need it. They're running short. Afilu chafir mutar, even digging is mutar. You can construct a new bar. Because tzarech Rabbim are mutar on Chol HaMoed. So we have two things: chatita, clearing, unplugging, cleaning up the boiros. That can be done even though it appears that, currently speaking, there is no immediate need for it. But chafir is only mutar when there is a need. Asks the Gemara, do you mean to say that when there is a current need, the Rabbim needs this extra facility, you can actually construct it anew? Is that mutar? Is that true? Vatani, listen to this brayso, which indicates otherwise. Chafira, constructing a new facility, is always asur, even for the Rabbim, even when they need it. The brayso says, choitetin boiros, you can clear out, you could clean up, you could unclog boiros, sichanam aras, these different types of water storage holes. Shel yachid, which belong to an individual, individually owned facilities can be cleaned up on Chol HaMoed to allow them to gather water. So chatita is mutar. Ve'ein tzarech le'em shel Rabbim, of course it belongs to the Rabbim. Chatita is mutar. But digging, constructing anew, ve'ein choifren boiros sichanam aras shel Rabbim. You can't even do that for the sake of the Rabbim. Ve'ein tzarech le'em, of course, there's no need to say that it cannot be done if it's shel yachid. End quote. So the brayso clearly indicates that chatita is always mutar, but not chafira. My love, should we not assume? What is the circumstance here? They need it or they don't need it? B'shir Rabbim tzrichen lahem. Shouldn't we assume that it's currently needed? It's for immediate use, and still the brayso doesn't allow chafira, even for Rabbim. No. B'shir ein Rabbim tzrichen lahem. Speaking, there is no current need for this additional facility, and therefore we can't do chafira, even for the Rabbim. If they need it, we allow it. But if it's just for a backup, for added security, you can't go to this extent. Dig a new bar, that's awesome. Okay, now, the brayso paired together, Rabbim and Yachid. So to bundle them together. Chatita can be done by Rabbim and by Yachid. Chafir cannot be done by Rabbim or by Yachid. Now you're telling me the Bryce is speaking when the Rabbim don't need it. And that's why Chafir is us. Let's assume the same situation is taking place by the Yachid, which is mentioned in this Bryce. We assume that the Bryce is speaking about the very same case, very same situation. Rabbim don't really need it, and Yachid doesn't really need it. So the Yachid case, the individually owned facility in this Bryce is speaking, when he doesn't really need it, he has enough without this bar. She'ein Yachid tzarech lahem. Says the Gemara, Chatita mishari. I have another kasha. If it's a private bar, he doesn't really need it for Chol HaMoed. You can't even clean it out. There's no heta to clean a bar out for a Yachid when he doesn't really need it for Chol. It's not Tzarech HaMoed. So by the Rabbim, we explained that, the Rabbim's needs are unpredictable. You never know how much they need. So we allow some extra work for them. But Chatita for a Yachid who doesn't need it, it's certainly Aser. As we have in the following price. A privately owned facility. You can pour water in there, you can gather water into this bar, but you cannot repair it, you can't clean it out. You can't cover the cracks. That's by Yachid. Vishel Rabbim. But if it belongs to the Rabbim, you can clean it out. Again, you can cover up the cracks. You can repair their bar. Now we have a stira between Brisa number 1, which allowed Chatita for a Yachid, and Brisa number 2, which doesn't allow, right? So the only way to really reconcile the stira is by saying that the most recent Brisa, it doesn't allow Chatita by the Yachid is speaking when he doesn't need it. So why go through the extra effort unnecessarily? It doesn't justify on Chol HaMoed. Whereas the Brisa number 1, which allowed Chatita by Yachid, apparently it's speaking when he needs it. He's being supplied by this bar, and therefore Chatita is mutter. That's the only way to reconcile this apparent contradiction. Again, Brisa number 1 allows Chatita by the bar HaYachid, because we're speaking that he needs it for Chol HaMoed. Brisa number 2 does not allow, because he doesn't need it. And if that's the case, that Brisa number 1 is speaking that there is a current need for this facility. No, back to the other kash. It undoes our pshat, which was that the Brisa is speaking when we don't need it, and therefore we don't allow chafir for the Rabbim. We've just proven otherwise. Apparently, Brisa number 1 is speaking when they need it. Yachid needs it, the Rabbim needs it, and still the Brisa only allows chatita, no chafira. No chafira. Didn't Rabbi Yehuda tell us that the Rabbim could be chayfir a bar when they need it? That's a kasha on Rabbi Yehuda. Says the Gemara, Velamai. So apparently we have to say, B'sheyachid tzarech lahem. That the first Bryce is speaking, the Yachid needs the bar. The Kavasab Gaber Rabbim. Let's assume that the parallel case of the Rabbim that's mentioned in Bryce number 1 is also speaking Mish Rabbim tzrichen lahem. We need it for Chol HaMoed. And still we say, repair is mutter, but not constructing. Chafir mi asar, is that true that you can't construct a new bar if the Rabbim need it? We have a brisa. Not only does Rabbi Yehuda say it's mutter, we even have a brisa to support it. Atanya boiras sichen amaras shel yachid, privately owned facilities. Koisen man sechem, can fill them with water. V'chatit nice, and we can repair them. Pull out the mud, clear up the bar. Avaloi shevinas at gain. You can't actually do a malacha like filling the cracks. You can't dig them deeper. You can't cover them with lime. That's because it's a yachid. V'shel Rabbim. But if it's a publicly owned facility, you can actually dig a new one, or take an existing one and make it deeper. And cover it with lime. You can do malachis if the Rabbim needs it. It's pretty clear from this brisa. But even chafir is mutter to provide the Rabbim with water that they need in Chol HaMoed. So this is supposed to be Rabbi Yehuda. he's fully supported by this price. But we still have a kasha. Ela kasha kamaisa. What happened to the first price on the Amud? That we've proven to be speaking where they need it. Because otherwise you couldn't even do chatita for the yachid. We're speaking that he needs it and they need it. So why does the Brisa only allow chatita for the Rabbim, not chafira? Ela kasha kamaisa. Teritzachi. Let's modify that Brisa. Let's reinterpret that Brisa. The Brisa reads like this: Chaytatin boira shel yachid. You can do chatita by a privately owned bar. When? B'shel yachid tzarech lehem. When he needs it. He has tzarech hamoed. V'ein tzarech lehem b'shel rabbim. Kisher rabbim tzrichen lehem. And of course, needless to say that you can do the same thing. You can be chaytet the boira shel rabbim when they have it's tzarech. It's supplying them with water for chol hamoed. Ta'afilu chafiru mutter. Because you know what? By the rabbim, if they have a need for a new bar, you can do that as well. Exactly as we learned in the last price. Exactly as Rabbi Yehuda taught us. And the Brisa continues. However, to dig a new bar, even for public use, that is not allowed if they don't have a current need for this additional water facility. Of course, you can't do it for the yachid. Because in a case where he doesn't really need it for MOED use, or even repairing his pre-existing, but even just cleansing it, and clearing it, and unclogging it, unplugging it, would be aser as well. So the bottom line is, it's pretty clear. By a privately owned facility, a bar shel yachid, if there's a need, tzarech hamoed, chatita is mutter. You can clean it up, pull out the mud and the pebbles, to make it suitable for use. So limited exertion is mutter, but chafira, to that extent, that type of tircha, that's asr, even for the yachad when he needs it. By the rabbim, we go a step up. Chatita is always mutter. You never know what they need, what they don't need. Perhaps they'll need it tomorrow, when their water gets depleted. It's an unpredictable situation. So that allows for chatita, even if there's no current immediate use, immediate need. But if they actually have a need, you know for a fact they need this additional facility, even chafira is mutter. Because tzorchei rab, public works, can be done even a chol hamoed. Amar Vashi must listen namidek. You know, I'll prove this from our Mishnah. What am I proving? That when Rabbi Matzricham loy, even chafira is mutter. Mishnah says, Diktani, oisin kol tzorchei rab. You can perform all tzorchei rab, all public works on chol hamoed. Now the word koil, lasuyimai, what is it coming to add? Lav lasuy chafira. You should not assume that it's coming to include this type of case. To dig a new bar for tzarech harab. That's right. This halacha loy, perhaps not. Lasuya desani, it's coming to include the following halacha. Yetzin lekavetz etzadrachim. On chol hamoed, they go out and they remove the thorns, the obstacles, which are found on the roads after a long winter, or after a long summer. Fix up the squares, the highways. Check the mikvahs, make sure they have enough water. The mikvah doesn't have 40 so you direct 40 so into the mikvah, you fill it up, make it kosher. Continues the Brisa. How do we know that if Bezdin, if the municipality neglected their responsibilities, they didn't go out and check, they didn't inspect the roads, and the roads are impassable and dangerous, if subsequently, as a result of their neglect, blood gets spilled, accidents happen, Hashem considers it as though they're responsible for what happens. Yes, if a person fails to put a railing around his roof, any mishap that may occur is on his shoulders. Oh, says the Gemara, perhaps that's what the Mishnah means. All these activities are meant to be done. We're not speaking about digging new pits. What do you mean? Take a look at the Mishnah. It already mentions these things. They repair the roads, squares, the mikvahs. So we went through the whole gamut of public works. What's the added voice in kol tzechei rabim? What's that for? What is that including? Apparently it's coming to include this case, digging a new pit for tzechei rabim, which is mutter even on chol. So in conclusion, we have the bar shel rabim and the bar shel yachid. We have chatita, which means clearing up the bar, pulling out the pebbles to allow their proper use. We have chafira, digging a new bar. When it's a rabbim, chatita is always mutter, whether or not you envision current use and current need. You never know what they need in the future. Perhaps at the end of Yom Tov they'll need it. Whereas chafira is mutter as well, but only when rabbim tzrichim, when you know there's a real acute need for it. By yachid, you go a step down. By chatita, that's mutter if he needs it. Chafira is never mutter. Continues the Gemara. Umitzaynes akvaris. Mishnah says they mark the graves. They mark tumah, so that people with truma keep away and don't become tummy. Amar b'shimon pazi. Remez l'tziyun kvaris min ha'torah minayin. How do we know that there's an obligation to make a tziyun, to mark, to identify kvaris? Talmud Loimar, pasuk says, "V'ra etzem adam abona etzlei tziyun." Rashi says, "This is lasad lavi." Yecheskel hanavi is misnabi. In days to come, the antagonists of Yisrael, the Goyim, will be scattered, and their corpses will be mitame, and they're going to make a tziyun wherever they find the mace, the tumah. They're going to make a mark to identify the area to keep away. That's a marker from a pasuk that a tziyun on top of a tumah is in place, is appropriate. You know what? I saw this when I was in Tzfas. They were there at the old Beis HaKvaros, so lots of rocks that are marked, they painted with like a light bluish paint. That's a tziyun, to mark the Mokum Tumah, places which are known to have a kvarim beneath them. So all over the place you see these bluish painted rocks. That's a tziyun. Ubona etzla tziyun. It's a marker to identify the tumah. So this is learned from a pasuk in Yecheskel. Amali Ravina Ravashi. This concept that you meant to make a tziyun. Mekama de leisi Yecheskel man amra. Before Yecheskel Navi came around, who taught it to us? Meaning, we know that in a Navi Rasha lechalish davar ma'ata. We had this in the beginning of Megillah. A Navi can introduce a new concept, a new mitzvah, a new chiyuv. How would we know it before Yecheskel? If the only source is from Yecheskel, v'tameich. So he responded, now, according to your way of thinking, I have a kasha. What about Rav Chizda's halacha? Rav Chizda says, Davar zeh Miteres Moshe Rabbeinu le'lemadno. The following halacha was not learned from Moshe Rabbeinu's Torah. There's no source for it. In the Torah, Medivrei Yecheskel v'buzi lemadno. We learn it from the words of Yecheskel. Which halacha? Kol ben necher, a kohen who's been estranged from Hashem. He's deviated from the path of Torah. Or a leiv, his heart is stuffed up. Or a basa, or for some reason, a medical reason, they couldn't do a bris milah on him. He's disqualified from serving the Beis Hamikdash. Lo yavei hamikdash l'shar seini. Now this is news. We don't find this in the Torah. This type of thing disqualifies a kohen. Mekame de lesi Yecheskel man amra. Who taught us beforehand? Elagmar Gmirla. Apparently, it's been handed down by tradition. Torah Shabbat Peh. Halach Meshmir Sinai. Va'asi Yecheskel. Va'asmacha Akra. And Yecheskel merely comes along and he supports it with a pasuk. He solidifies it, cements it in a pasuk. But it wasn't his chiddush. Hachanam here as well, regarding the tziyun on a kever, Gemara Gmirla, it was already known beforehand. Va'asi Yecheskel, va'asmacha Akra. And Yecheskel merely came along and he codified it in the psukim. But really, it was a previously known concept. Ravo says, I have another source that one is meant to place a marker on a kever, on a davar tummy, to keep the tahirim away. The Mitzvah calls out, I am tummy, v'tummy yikra. We learn, tuma kairasli, The tomb itself calls out to you. Keep away from me. This is a raya that is meant to be an identifying marker on that kever. The tomb is addressing the Adam Tar, keep away from me. Don't get entangled with me. We learn from this pasuk with Tommy Yikra Tuma Kaira Loivai Mersli Proish. The tomb itself calls out to him, keep away from me. Keep far away, don't become tummy. Is it so that this pasuk of a tummy yikra is coming to teach us this concept? We need it for something else. Hahu, that pasuk miboyle is needed likadesanya for the following concept. V'tummy yikra. We learn from here that a person who's tummy, who's experiencing hardship and sorrow, he's a matzera. He should call out. He should publicize his condition. Notify all of his plight. Tzorech lo'idiyah. Tzari l'rabim. Everybody should be aware of his hardship. V'rabim mivakshin olav rachman. This way, everybody can be mishtativ and daven for him. It's like we say, mishaberach in public. We want everybody to use their koyach, their schus, their tfilas harabim to daven for him. V'tummy yikra. Let everybody know that you're a tummy. So we really need a pasuk for this concept. How can we apply it for the halach of Tzion? In Cain, if only for that, lichtayv, the pasuk would just say, "V'tummy yikra." The tummy will call out. What's he calling out? He's telling them about his situation. My v'tummy tummy. Why the duplication? V'tummy yikra. Shamas minotarti. Apparently, we see both things in this pasuk. V'tummy yikra. Let him tell everybody where he's holding. Number two, v'tamei tummy yikra. That the tomb itself calls out, I am tummy. We make it tzion, a marker on the grave, on the tumah, which tells you, keep away. I once heard a beautiful pshat. The Yetzer Hara is the tummy. He really wants us to vanquish him, to defeat him. That's his job. He knows that Hashem is happier when we defeat him. He's just doing his job to challenge us, to make it more difficult for us, but he ultimately wants us to overpower him, because he also serves Hashem, and he knows that that's what brings Hashem happiness, so to speak, and nacha. So deep down, the Yetzer Hara is telling you, despite all my shenanigans, despite my presentation, really, I want you to win me over. V'tamei, the Yetzer Hara who is tummy yikra calls out to you, I'm tummy, keep away from me. I wish you win me over. Don't fall from my presentation. Continues the Gemara. We're looking for another makar. They meant to be mitzayin a caver. Don't place some stumbling block in front of a blind person. Mark the caver. This way you can steer clear of it. Rav Papa Amar, another pasuk. V'Aimar soilu pano derech, clear the roads of Tumah. Rechin Amar harimu michshu derech ami, lift the stumbling blocks. Rabbi Yehuda Breder Idi Amar. We learn from this pasuk, inform them on which the derech to go. Keep away from the tumah. Look, it's evidently tummy. There's a marker there. Mazucha Amar, separate. Vizarta means visifrishon, as Rashi brings here. Do something which will ensure that they keep away from tumah. Ravashi Amar, mishmarti. Watch over. Guard my truma, which is meant to be guarded. Make sure nobody gets tummy with their truma. Inform them, tell them, asu mishmeres mishmarati. Make a mishmeres, a safeguard for the thing that's meant to be safeguarded. Ravina Amar, v'sam derech ar'enu b'yesh alakim. Rashi says v'sam derech means they place a simon on the derech to know which way to go. Okay, so we have many makoris for this concept of imunitzayin, a caver. Once we're on this pasuk, as the Gemara Amar Shuman Levi, Kol Hasham Archoisav. So we darshan v'sham derech, lashon of evaluating, contemplation, making a cheshbon, doing things with foresight. Kol Hasham Archoisav. He plans out his routes. Rashi says, he makes a cheshbon. What am I going to lose? What am I going to invest to get this mitzvah done, but look how much I'm going to gain. And likewise, pitiful hana that comes from Avera versus the long-term punishment. So Sham is lashon of estimate. He values. He makes a proper cheshbon. Zoiche v'roya b'yishua shel Kadosh Baruch Hu. His fellow is zoiche to Hashem Yeshua. To have a successful eternity. Shenamar v'sam derech al tikri v'sam instead of v'sam with a sin. Ella v'sham. We change it to v'sham. Lashon of shuma. Value, estimation. Ella v'sham derech, and therefore arenu yesh alikim. There was a story. Rabbi Yana Yahavalehu Talmida. Rabbi Yana had a Talmud. The Chol Yom Avamachshilei. Every day he would just ask and ask, wouldn't let go. Very persistent and inquisitive Talmud. But he was careful. He had sensitivity. But Shabbat de Rigla, on that Shabbos of Yom Tov, everybody gets together, and Rabbi Yana was engaged in this major lecture. Well, you have a Machshilei. His Talmud suddenly is quiet, no questions. He didn't want to embarrass his Rebbe, lest he catch him off guard. And the Rebbe appreciated. Korele, he applied on him this pasuk. V'sham derech ar'enu b'yesh alakim. Says Rashi on the top line. Korele v'sham derech. Shemachashav b'shois. This fellow had an understanding, had an appreciation, a sensitivity. When to ask, when not to ask. Ezem hen lahakshis. When it's appropriate to ask. Ezem hen shloi lahakshis. In which hours it's inappropriate to ask. When it's a public setting, he might catch the Rebbe off guard and offend him, embarrass him. He kept quiet. Okay, back to the topic of Tzion, Kvaris. Ton Rabban. Ein mitzainin loyal kazayis min hames. There's no need to mark a kazayis of a mace. There's no need to do that. V'loyal etzem kesair, nor on a bone chip the size of a barley, which is only metame b'maga, if you actually touch it. It doesn't have the ability to be metame b'hoyil if you hover over it. And the concept of tzion is only to prevent inadvertent hovering, because touching, you'll notice it. You can easily avoid it. V'loyal davar she'ena metame b'hoyil. Oh, tzion doesn't apply, marking doesn't apply to something which is not metame b'oil. Aval, mitzayin ala shedra. But in the following cases, where there is too much oil, you make tzion, shedra, a spine of a mace, val gulgoylis, a skull, al rav binyan. Most of his a structure, skeleton structure, which is metame b'oil, al rav binyan, most of his bones. Of binyan hames. Ve'in mitzayin ala vadois. Another thing. There's no need to mark something which is known. You know it. You don't get near it. But things which are not known, which are suffix, then a tzion is required. For instance, ve'eloi nasfekes, schachos, a prois, the Gemara soon will explain. Ubeis apras. Beis apras is a field in which there was a kever, which was overrun by a plow. It was plowed over. So the mace is dispersed throughout. That's another example of a suffix. And therefore you have to be metzayin it. You have to identify it, to keep them out of it. Furthermore, ve'ein ma'amidin tzion v'makim tum. There's no need. We don't put the tzion right on the makim tum. You know why? Because by the time you get there, it's too late. Shul hafsid is taharis. It's going to create hafsid. If he brings along a truma, it's tar, and he's going to walk over to the tzion. By the time he gets there and realizes that it's a makim tum, he's too late. So you have to mark it a bit at a distance, to give him the heads up before he actually encounters the tumah. But ve'in marchikin tzion v'makom tumah. Don't make it too far away. Shalei l'hafsed es eretz Yisrael, to avoid causing hefsed, to making more and more land a tumah, meaning you're increasing the radius of the tumah beyond what's necessary. And it's going to be treated like a makam tameh. You don't want to do that. So not too far, not too close. Somewhere in the middle, just right. So that's the price. Now let's analyze the price. Price began. You don't make tzion on a kazayis min hames. Why? Because kazayis min hames in a metame ba'oil? Isn't the kazayis metame ba'oil, which is a prerequisite for tzion, v'atanya or v'atanan, elisha metame ba'oil kazayis min hames? Certainly, kazayis is one of those that can be metame ba'oil. Amra papa, you're right, But here, we're speaking about an exact kazayis, which is soon going to shrivel. The safe, ultimately, michser chas, it's going to shrivel, and within a short while, it's no longer going to be matame. And therefore, we sacrifice the short term for the long term. Don't mark it. Even though today, tomorrow, if somebody bumps into it, he'll become tummy. We're not concerned. Mutaf yisriful of truma v'kachim l'fi shah. We'd rather take a chance of perhaps bringing tuma to truma to kachim for the time being, for lack of identifying marker. Rather do that than mark it and have the mark sit there for long term, even beyond the necessary time, because the kazayis at that point is already shriveled and non-existent, and people still continue treating it as a makam tumah, which is worse. We don't want to be matam of the area unnecessarily. So give up the short term for the long term. Val yisrifol of lo'ilam, rather than marking it and have people treat it like a makam tumah and burn truma v'kachim forever, for the long term. The Raisa mentioned examples of uncertainties, svekis, which require itzion, to highlight the fact that there is tumah there. Ve'elahin ha-svekis. Schachos of prois. What is that? Schachos is an ilon hamesach la'aretz. Lashon of schach, hovering, coverage, shelter. You have a tree hovering over the aretz. Rashi explains, typically they would put tumah underneath there, perhaps a mace. It's a makam tzanuah. So, in that situation, you have to make a marker, so that they all know there's a tumah there. Rashi points out that it's really unknown. We don't really know for sure that there's a mace there. It's a suffix. Rashi says it's rugged. They're accustomed to burying there. It's a covered, secure area, and therefore you have to mark it and treat it as tummy. Prois, likewise, is such a case as well. Avon and prois, hayotzis hageder. You have some stones protruding out of the stone fence, and beneath it we have to speculate that there's tumah. We have to mark it. Another example is the Beis HaPras. What is that? Because it's not. If one plows over, they plow over a caver. Beis HaPras. The entire area is considered Beis HaPras and is treated like a suffix tumah. V'kama hu oisa. Until how far? Do we have the chashash that there are bones? How much plowing? How far from the caver? Are we concerned about the plow having dragged part of the caver, part of the mace? Mulay mana, a plowful. Mei amma, which is generally 100 ammas. Meaning up until 100 amma from the caver, you have to be choishish that the plow equipment dragged some remnants of the caver. So 100 amma radius all around this caver is treated like a Beis HaPras. And you have to mark it as tummy. Asks the Gemara, but you just told me that tziyun only applies for a tumah that has tumas oil, which doesn't apply to Beis HaPras. Beis HaPras matami oil. Since when is a Beis HaPras of tumas oil? But Amar Vidam Shmuel menapecha the Beis HaPras v'hoylech. Rashi explains, he's on his way to do his carbon pesach and he encounters a Beis HaPras. How does he get through it? Menapecha just blows his way through it, blows the bones away, and goes through it. Apparently there was no tumas oil there, otherwise you can't walk through a place that has tumas oil. Furthermore, we learned Rabbi Yehuda bar Ami Mishmedu Ulamar Beis HaPras shenidash tor. The Beis HaPras has been threshed, been trampled, thoroughly trampled, in which case you know for sure there is no etzem kasar, there are no bones the size of which that could be matami. It's been trampled and crushed. Tar. Clearly, the concern is only touching a bone. There's no tumas oil on the area. So why would you mark it? Amar Papa Lekasha. The answer is there are two types of Beis HaPras. Kan besodesh avad bakever. The Brisa, which requires marking a Beis HaPras, is speaking about a Beis HaPras where a caver went missing. Location unknown. A full caver is sitting there. A caver is certainly matami ba'oil. That has to be marked. That entire chassadah where the caver went missing has to be marked, because there's a potential tumas oil lying there. But in those halachas that we just learned, that you can blow your way through it, etc., which indicates that the concern is only scattered bones. We're speaking about a kever that was plowed over. Kever is certainly no longer intact. The concern is only some random bones. As long as you inspect your way through there, as long as you're ensure there are no bones, you're okay. So the Brisa that speaks about marking a Beis HaPras, you're telling me it's a Beis HaPras where there is a full kever lying there, location unknown. Is that called Beis HaPras? You see, the word Beis HaPras comes from achilas pras, porous, broken, crushed, a kever that was plowed over and dispersed. So do you mean to say that a sod that has a kever intact is also called Beis HaPras? Yes. Vatnan, in fact, we have three. Shloisha Beis HaPras. So apparently it's a borrowed term. We apply the term Beis HaPras to all these cases. Sod shenevad b'kever. A sod where a kever went missing. The kever is intact somewhere. It's matame b'oil. V'sod shenechash b'kever. Or a sod where the kever got plowed over and got dispersed and dismantled. And the third thing is the v'sod boichen, a weeping field. What does that mean? Ma'asad boichen. Rabbi Shubar Abba Mishmedu Ulomar, he explained, it's a sada shemaftirin b'mesim, like maftir, the last stage of the Kriyas HaTorah. They deposit the mace there, Rashi explains. At times they deliver the coffin from a different town. They bring it into this sada, where the local Chaver Kadisha takes over, local family takes over. And there's a chashash of tumah. Why? V'tamamai. Amar abim mishmum yush balam nogaba. Concerned about yush balam. Perhaps they abandoned, they unknowingly left Loyalena part of the mace behind. Maybe there was some thing that the mace that got shed from the mess, and that part is also matame. And between both groups, they overlooked it. They delivered, they picked up, they overlooked that there was something there that was still tummy that should have been scooped up. Sadeh Boichen is also a mokim which has tumah midrabanan. So bottom line is, we have three types of Beis HaPras. The standard Beis HaPras is a sadeh shenechash b'kever. The kever was plowed over. The concern there is no longer tumas oil. The mace is no longer intact. Regardless, concern is maga, coming into contact with those bones. And Einachanami, this type of sada doesn't need tziyun, because tziyun only applies to a place which has tumas oil, to ensure that you don't hover, you don't come too close to the place. Maga, contact, you can keep away, you can notice what you're doing. There's no concern there. And the Brisa, which discussed being Matzayin in Beis HaPras, is speaking about not your typical Beis HaPras, where the kever was plowed over. Rather, we're speaking about a Sada Shenevad Bo Kever. Well, you know with certainty there is some kever sitting in that field, which radiates Tumas oil. Asks the Gemara, the Sada Shenechash Bo Kever Leboy Tzion, you mean to say that if the kever is plowed over, no Tzion is needed, because there's no Tumas oil? Vatanya, listen to this Brisa. Matzah Sada Matzuyenes. He's walking along the road and he encounters a field with a marker, with that blue paint all over. Now he's not sure what's going on. What's wrong with this field? It can be one of two options here. Is it a sada shenechrash bokever, in which case the kever has been dispersed, in which case the concern is only the tzamas, the bones, which is something he can see on his own, he can inspect, he can be careful as he walks along not to encounter any bones. Is that the reason why they marked it? Or perhaps it was a sada shenevad kever. There's some kever sitting in this field. That's not something that he can identify on his own. It's on the ground and he has to keep out of that field. So which one is it? Again, he finds a field with a tzion. There's no explanation provided. It's a tummy field. Why? Is it this or that? So how does he figure out? How does he go about it? Yesh beilonis. So if he notices some trees in that field, then he knows trees are always cultivated by means of plowing around them. He knows this field's been plowed over, in which case it has a less severe form, less severe status, a lower level, Beis HaPras. Ein beilonis. But if no trees are present, then he knows. The reason for the identifying markers of Tumah is because there's a kever sitting here. And that arouses more concern. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, you can't rely on this. Simon, trees means plowing. No. It only works if you have an elder, a Talmud Chacham, the elder Talmud Chacham, a Rav, a Talmud, who will confirm that this field has been plowed over. And everybody's an expert, everybody knows what's going on, meaning just because there are trees there doesn't necessarily mean that it's been plowed over. You can't be sure, you can be certain unless you know for a fact what's going on. In any case, it's pretty clear from this brisa that they mark both types of fields. Nevad b'kever and nechesh b'kever. Which is inconsistent with what we said before, that a nechesh b'kever doesn't need a tziyun because there's no tumas oil. Amar Papa Kitanya hi b'sada she'avad b'kever. The truth is that Bryce is discussing a sada where a kever went missing. That's why they marked it, because of the kever. It's matame b'oil. It's the only time you make a tziyun, when it's a sada she'nevad b'kever, because of tumas oil. And the Bryce meant like this: Yesh b'ilonis. If you find trees there, b'yadua she'nechash b'kever. Now you know. After they marked it, somebody came along and plowed over the field to take care of the trees. Now you know that the kever is no longer intact. It's been dispersed and dismantled. And it carries a different type of tumas maga. Ein b'ilonis. But if there are no trees present in this marked field, then you know it still has that kever somewhere in the field. Bottom line is, you only mark a sada she'avad b'kever because of potential tumas oil. But if you find trees, then you know that somewhere along the line it was plowed over afterwards. It's inevitable. They take care of the trees, they plow them. So you know there's no more kever intact. But otherwise you have to be concerned about a real kever. Asks the Gemara. What are trees going to tell you? They're still concerned. Maybe they plowed around the trees, which are situated closer to the center of this field, in the inner portion of the field, on the other side, but the kever is on the outside. On this side. The tree's over there, and the kever is here. The kever wasn't plowed over. Why is that indication that the kever was plowed over? Like Ula tells us elsewhere, we're speaking where the trees are around the perimeter of the field. Apparently we're speaking about that same type of case. Trees are standing on the perimeter, near Rosh Hashanah. And we know that the tumah must be behind the trees, had been plowed over when they took care of the trees. Still, maybe the kever sitting deep down in the field, and the trees on the outside. What do the trees have to do with the kever, which perhaps is situated in the interior portion of the field? We're speaking that the trees aren't neatly lined up. They're arranged in a haphazard manner. They're just mixed up. In which case, the entire field was plowed. The entire field is the Mokum Ilanes and was plowed to cultivate those trees. So the Ilanes am Urav B'chala Sada. There's no area in the Sada clear of trees, in which case you know the Charisha for the trees inevitably took apart the Kever. Another teretz to your kasha would be as follows. What's your kasha? That maybe the field is marked, but the tumah is deep in the field, away from the trees. But haven't we said earlier, you don't do that. You don't put the marker at a distance from the tumah. Ein marchikin tziyun. Mimakam Tumah. Shaloi Lahafs Eretz Yisrael. You don't place the tzion at a distance from the Tumah. You don't want to create unnecessary Tumah in Eretz Yisrael. And since you found the tzion right next to the trees, you assume that's where the Tumah was located and was plowed up when they cultivated the trees. Rabbi Yehuda added, no, you can't rely on this simon. Just because there are trees, it was plowed, there's no more caver. No, Achi Yesham Zuk in a Talmud, you need an authoritative figure telling you what to do. It's not something that everybody can understand and figure out. Every situation is different. You need somebody to tell you authoritatively what's going on. Amar Abaye Shema, we learn from here. When there's a young Talmud Chacham residing in a city, he is responsible for all the goings on in the city. All things pertaining to the city, Alei Ramya, are sitting on his shoulders. He's responsible for communal affairs. So although he's sitting learning all day in Beis HaMedrash, he has to keep an eye out. Look after his city. That's just his responsibility as a Talmud Chacham. Okay, let's do a quick chazar of today's daf. What about water supply facilities? Can you repair them? Can you build them? So repairing is chatita, pulling out the tzroiros, Rashi says, clearing them, cleaning them. That can be done by the bar shel rabbim, whether or not they actually need it right now. By the yachid, only if he actually needs it. Construction of a new facility, that's mutter for the rabbim if they need it for Chol HaMoed. Whereas by the yachid, that's never allowed. Because the special heter, tzorchei rabbim, can be done on Chol HaMoed. What else they do on Chol HaMoed? They fix the roads, the mikvahs. They will mitzayin the kvaris, which is sourced in many psukim. Banas leitzion, tamatam yikra lefnei iver. When exactly do we make a tzion? Only when it involves a potential tumas oil, where there's a concern that the traveler might inadvertently lean over it and become tummy. We only do it when it's a suffix, but when it's a known kever, there's no need to mark it. You place the tzion pretty close to the tumah, not too far away. Not too close, not too far. When there's a ksais mitzum, which in any case is going to disintegrate, we leave it alone for the time being. And when mitzayin, a beis hapras, in this case beis hapras means a sada shenevad b'kever. So it's somewhere in the kever, in the yisada, that was not plowed over. Concluded with a turban rabbanon who lives in the city, has to look out for the city. We had that story about the Talmud, who was careful and sensitive to his Rebbe, not to embarrass him, and he applied the pasuk, V'sham derech, ar'enu b'yesh alakim. B'suras tevas, and much hatzlacha to you.